here is just a little dummy video I'm preparing in the context of a support ticket. There was a player who asked whether it is possible to consider his own custom road attribute scenario in an Optiflow call, PTV developer Optiflow optimization call. And I would like to demonstrate some dependencies between the different components that are in use here, and maybe just show you what is possible, what is not possible, and under what circumstances something is possible. Now, the thing is that you probably know that we've got a mechanism in place that is called custom road attributes. There is a little test front end that enables you to create such a scenario. In this example, you can see I use that public showcase. I need to provide my API key so I can create content in my own scope. And this particular scenario is now based on, for example, the area of Cologne, where I have blocked several bridges across the river. So if I want to perform a one-to-one routing from one side of the river to the other side of the river, I cannot take these bridges. I have to perform a significant detour over the, in this case, southern area. Here we go. That's it. Now, this scenario has a certain name. This is the created and maintained in the showcase. Anyone else could do this in the same way. And I also did the execution of the routing in the same application. But the purpose of that custom attribute scenarios is that you can also share it and use it through other applications. And that's what I'm doing next. So I have this little standalone desktop application, which I use to demonstrate different capacities of PTV developer, one of them being the routing. And here you can see I've chosen 2 coordinates on the different sides of the river in the Cologne area. And below you see there is my name, custom road attributes Bernd. And again, this causes the route to perform a detour to avoid the bridges in the Cologne area. Unfortunately, that test client is not capable of visualizing my own custom blockings. That's a lack in that sample application, and it's too complicated for the moment to just add it to it. Now, okay, that being said, here we talk about the name of that. Now, once you have such a custom road attribute scenario defined, what we invented in the recent months was a mechanism that is called custom routing profile. Now, a custom routing profile compared to the standard routing profiles enables a PTV client to get in touch with us and to define some, let's say, characteristics of a vehicle, whether it's the speeds to be driven on certain road categories or physical dimensions of the vehicle that differ from the standard routing profiles of a 40-ton truck, for example. With this mechanism, you can configure, customize the profile together with some expert from PTV. Now that means in a custom routing profile definition, you can also refer to a scenario, which means you can create the data, keep it up to date with, for example, that little showcase. In the specification of your custom routing profile, you mentioned, okay, I want to consider that specific scenario. And every once in a while, based on a certain mechanism, we will update so-called search graph, which is a required technical mechanism for the high performance routing, which is applied in the metrics routing API. And as you know, probably in an optimization context, in an optimization context, you can also, or you have to create distance matrices which contain for each vehicle profile that applies in the optimization, any relation from any location in the optimization to any location in the optimization. Now, that being said, let me just start with demonstrating what this means for the metrics routing API. In this, again, sample application, I've got the metrics routing API. Now I have created a dummy profile. This is not a real profile. Forget about the name, just keep in mind what I am demonstrating here. Tomorrow that profile might be gone. It might be configured with totally different settings. It doesn't matter. For the moment, the only thing you need to know is that profile right now uses the scenario with the blocked bridges. Now, if I calculate the matrix based on a regular profile, which is, for example, the 40-ton truck, here we go. And then you see the different distances. Oh, let me see, it's better to be seen here, as the values of the travel distances is somewhere below, let's say the maximum value I see here is about below 20 kilometers. Okay, so the relations that I have calculated based on these 6 coordinates, as you can see, 3 of them, the last 3 of them have a coordinate almost 7 and more in longitude, while the others are the ones on the left side of the river or on the western side of the river have the coordinate on this side. And now let me apply my custom profile. Here we go. And in that custom profile, if I calculate the matrix, we will easily see in the response that a relation from one side of the river to the same side of the river is still below 10 kilometers. That's destination 1, 2, 3 are on the left side. On the other side, we see that relations from the right side of the river to the right side of the river, again, below 10 kilometers, or let's say 12 kilometers is the maximum here. But any relation from one side of the river to another side of the river is excessively longer now. That's because of that profile. Now, that being said, I created my profile. I linked the profile to my own scenario with the block bridges, and I can use it in the matrix routing API. Next level is how to apply this in Optiflow. Now, remember, we've got this profile name on the vehicles. Here we are. We should see the name of the profile. That's here. No, that's not here. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Well, that's the standard 40-ton truck. And if we look into the output of that 40-ton truck-based optimization, here I have several transport orders, pickup delivery orders, where the pickup is on the one side of the river, the delivery is on the other side of the river. This is the output sequence after the optimization. And here we've got one leg that connects the last pickup with the first delivery. And if we look into the Gantt chart, here we see these are the pickups, these are the deliveries. Oh, by the way, 5 of them, yeah. And here is the leg that I just showed on the map. The length of the leg is 6.3 kilometers. That being said, that was the 40-ton standard truck. Now, if we look into the other example, same request, just changed the value of the profile, which is now my custom profile name, considering the bridges. It creates a different output. So the output is now the leg between the last pickup, which is that one here with the triangle up, and the first delivery, which is that triangle down here. The length of this leg is now 57 kilometers. You can't see that on the map because that is just connecting the dots by airline, but the underlying information, quality-wise, is routing-based. And that's what I wanted to show here. Now, next question that probably comes is, can I just use the same profile name in one-to-one routing here? So now the thing is, if I try to ask the one-to-one routing for consider my own profile name, I will get an error message because that is not implemented here. So not yet, maybe about to come in the future, but today, April 2026, this is not possible right now. If you want to consider your custom route attributes in one-to-one routing, there's 2 technical approaches. One of them is what I can demonstrate. That was if you just say my custom route attribute scenario is supposed to be considered. Let me just remove my profile name. Go back to the options. Here we see standard routing. Again, here we see the route. The message contains the name of my scenario, but not the profile name. It's just using, let's say, a standard core profile, but it produces the total distance with a detour. And the other approach would be to use the matrix routing API and to ask for, now I'm not sure whether this, whether I have already implemented this, I don't think so. Yes, to ask for get the route ID with the profile. Now what happens next is suspense. I'm going to look into the responses. No, I don't think that's working. No, haven't implemented that. Forget it. Well, but with that being said, with the matrix routing API, you can ask the matrix routing API for providing as part of the response a route ID. And with the route ID, you can go back to the routing API, and instead of specifying your coordinates here, which are then used for creating the geometry in the routing process, you can, if you rely on the route ID instead, that already has created the geometry in the matrix process. So you only refer to the underlying geometry, which is then providing additional information such as the toll, the polyline, and so on. That's it. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show. So long story short, if you want to consider your own custom data, or let's say your own physical dimensions of a truck, or the underlying vehicle specifications, or your road blockings or road openings, could also be the case, then this is possible with a so-called custom profile. And this works with the matrix routing API and also with the Optiflow API. That's it. If you have questions, feel free to get back to me. It's the link.